Like, how do you stand out and be a real person so that when you're communicating with whoever it is, you feel, or they feel, like you're sitting at a table with an amazing chocolate, like brownie sundae in front of them, and you're like looking at each other in the eye and you're paying attention and you're focused, so much so that it just draws them in and they want to hear what they're hanging on your every word.
Kristina sat down and showed up sporting a t-shirt demanding justice for the M-dash before we even began the chatcast. A few seconds later, we're talking M-dashes. This week on 50 Tastes of Grey, I sit down with Kristina Gorr. She's a ghostwriter, which sounds simple until you realize her whole job is climbing into someone else's head and handing them back their own voice. Just clearer, just sharper, just more them. We talk about the internet's new favorite hobby, accusing anyone who writes well of secretly being a robot. Too many dashes? Gotta be AI. Too few? Also AI. At some point, I think breathing between sentences is going to get flagged. And with the way I breathe, oh boy, I'm in big trouble. Kristina's answer to all of this is incredibly simple. Stop trying to sound like everyone else. Sound like you. Then, because my show never stays on one road for very long, we end up somewhere between a marriage license joke about Appalachian stereotypes, think kissing cousins, a truck bed full of kids on a hot summer day in Ohio, and a full courtroom hearing on the subject of condiments, where ketchup somehow gets diplomatic immunity, but mustard gets exiled on sight. We talk chocolate snobbery, sourdough starters with more personality than most of my house guests, a Dubai chocolate bar with a reputation it may or may not deserve, and what it's like trading Appalachian hills for Hawaiian volcanoes. And underneath all the laughing, there's a real moment. Kristina talks about helping a man write his memoir, a man who swore he didn't have a story worth telling, until she asked him what he smelled, what he heard, what his chest felt like in that moment. That's what really mattered. That's the whole job right there. Not writing someone's story for them, helping them remember it. This is Kristina Gorr, ghostwriter, storyteller, chocolate purist, corn dog enthusiast, and one of the best conversations two cunning linguists could ever have. Let's get into it.
Oh, wow. You love the continuity thing.
Yeah, I was like, I should just wear the same shirt. Plus, justice for M dashes. It's like I picked it purposefully because, you know, M dashes and writers and AI, there's like a whole battle going on. So I was like, I'm going to wear that shirt, and even if I don't talk about it, it'll say justice for M dashes. So.
You know, the M dashes thing with the AI is huge right now. People are so fearful that if they were to use one, it's been a writing convention for how long? Hundreds of years? But if they feel like if they use one, that people are going to say that person's using AI to write their stuff.
Yeah, actually, my very first LinkedIn post that went viral ever was back in January, and it was because I said I quit over an M dash. Because a client told me to take out an M dash, and I did, because that's my job as a ghostwriter, is to write how the client wants me to write. But I was like feeling really snarky about it, and so I wrote this LinkedIn post that was, my client told me to take out an M dash, so I quit on the spot. Kidding! Just kidding, guys. And then I explained why I think it's ridiculous to have to take out an M dash. And yeah, people everywhere were like rallying. So, yeah.
I'm curious, what kind of comments were you getting on that?
Mostly people saying, I didn't even know what an M dash was until AI came around, or saying, you can take the M dash out of my cold, dead hands. It was like solidarity for those who used it, and then other people being like, what the heck's an M dash? Like, yeah.
Only non-writers would ask what an M dash was, but in the last year or two, it's trending.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And people are very passionate about it, myself included, not because of the M dash itself. It's just the principle of the fact that we're being told to stop using good writing technique just because of how AI has mimicked us. Mm-hmm. And I get very passionate about that, because AI is just trying to sound like us. And it is basically, the thing I like to think about is, if you think of like the whole pool of writing that it's being trained on, it's basically averaging it out, and then it's created its own voice that is at the average of all of those people. all of their writing. So when you use AI to write, you are becoming the average of all people instead of being your unique, amazing self. And AI has its own unique voice because of that. And so that's why it's really easy to tell if people are using AI. I think that I am more sensitive to it. Like I can pick up immediately if somebody has used AI for writing. Other people, it might have to be more obvious for people, but there's just so many structures and techniques and things that it uses in every sentence structure. It's very obvious.
Yeah, I've been writing a long time as well. And now, because of all of the hubbub surrounding M dashes, that when I want to use one, I'll steer clear of that because I'm paranoid that people are going to say, oh, you're using whatever AI to write your stuff. And I go, oh dear, it's like becoming worse for us.
Yeah, it definitely makes you question yourself, which is unfortunate because especially if you're a good writer, you shouldn't ever question yourself. But it's one of the reasons why I have leaned in heavily to breaking a lot of rules when it comes to writing. One of them being I use slang now in my writing, which, I know we've talked about the Appalachian slang. I use it more now than ever because that's not something that AI is going to reproduce unless you specifically tell it. But even then, I'm not sure that it's been trained on how to sound like somebody from Appalachia, Ohio. So it's very unique. But even things like writing sentences with, I don't want to say bad grammar because it's not bad grammar, but to make it more like how you speak as opposed to proper grammatical, like written rules. I'm like, throw all those out because if it makes you sound unique and you, everyone's going to know it's you and it's not AI. It makes you stand out and it gets the job done. It communicates what it needs to communicate.
Writers don't want to use AI to write. We like to have AI to help us format and structure things. Is that cheating?
It depends, I think. If you are not using your own idea first, then absolutely it's cheating and AI can't think for itself. So it's again, it's just pulling from things that it already knows. So what I like to tell my clients is if you want to use AI in some form, the number one rule is you always start with yourself and you end with yourself. If you want to add AI, make it somewhere in the middle to help you, like to build your confidence, whatever it is you need. But like start with your original idea. Don't go to AI and be like, I want to post about this. What should I post about? Like, don't ever ask that question.
Right.
Start with your own idea first. Brainstorm even on like a piece of paper and a pencil, like get out of tech and like look around you, get inspiration from whatever the things are that you love. Start there, and then whenever it outputs whatever it outputs, look at it and edit it and make it yours. Don't end with whatever it spits out. So
right. How long have you been a ghostwriter, Kristina?
So it'll be 12 years when I officially started ghostwriting, but I didn't call it ghostwriting. I called it just communications support. I would write like newsletters and blogs and social media posts, but I didn't call it ghostwriting until pretty recently, actually. Over the years, it morphed from me just writing whatever the client told me to adding more storytelling elements and being bolder and more confident and helping my clients figure out how to say what they wanted to say better. And so it's not just like an order taker, which again is something that I think really differentiates really great ghostwriters from just using AI, because AI is an order taker. Like it's going to spit out whatever you tell it. So I don't use AI for writing, but I do use it because number one, I'm not an idiot. Like if I don't use AI, I'm going to fall behind. Like I don't think it's ever going to take my job, but I need to know how to use it to stay current and relevant and to be able to speak to it. So I'll play around with AI. It is ridiculous how overly complimentary it is. Meaning like, great job, Kristina. This is the best thing you've ever written. I'm like, why are you saying, like, why are you feeding me all of this? And I catch errors on it all the time, like grammatical errors. I'll ask it to give me something using AP style and it'll like have the Oxford comma. Like, I love the Oxford comma, don't get me wrong.
Who gives a fuck about an Oxford comma? I seen those English dramas too. They're cruel.
But you were supposed to not use it, and you did use it. Things like that. But anyway, so back to your original question. I started using the term ghostwriting more recently because I do think it also differentiates me from just being a copywriter. Copywriting is, I think, taking a huge hit because of AI in people's minds. I think that the jobs are still there because there's a lot of companies that still value it. But a ghostwriter, in my mind at least, is a little bit more premium, I guess is the word, than like just a copywriter that takes orders, if that makes sense.
Is it a fair comparison then to compare a ghostwriter and a backseat driver?
I've never thought about it that way. Let me think about that analogy. So, backseat drivers are annoying. Usually, if people go to a ghostwriter, they're asking for the help.
If I were to hire you and I said, I want to write a story about this and that, and I want you to hit these certain beats, and I'd like it to be approximately this long, and I want it to appeal to the average person, you're going to kind of run with that. So a lot of the story, a lot of the writing becomes yours. Let's talk ego for a second. How does that affect you, that you're structuring and shaping and building and making something delicious for me when it's like pretty much most of your work? Is that an ego blow or is that just your lane?
No. And that it is like, I want to be able to put my name on it, but I can't because they're paying me for it to be their name. But to be honest, I just love it so much. I don't really care. When it comes to books, I offer pricing that includes like, I am a complete ghostwriter and no one will ever know. That's more expensive than if you decide to say with Kristina Gorr or I'm attributed somewhere in it. It'll be a little cheaper because it just helps me with marketing. It like puts my name out there. And so I will make that price point a little lower when people say that they will put my name on it.
Do you think a lot of people are averse to having that co-written thing and want you to maybe stay invisible more so than sharing the spotlight?
It depends on the person and their personality, I think. I have a book that I'm going to be working on starting in the fall, which I'm so excited about. And she has agreed to put my name on it, which is very exciting for me. But her personality is 100% collaboration. It is 100% like, I need a team of people. It's just her mindset of like, she knows that she can't do anything on her own. She needs the support and encouragement and work of a lot of people to do what she does. And so it's very on brand for her to use that phrase, to not want, a ghost. Like, if you're going to help me, I'm going to give you some credit for it. But then there are other people that they think it might hurt their credibility if they are found out that they use a ghostwriter. But honestly, I don't see how that's any different than if you decide to use AI. Like, are you going to start attributing AI every time that you use it? So yeah, it really just depends on the personality and mindset of the person. Maybe a little bit the industry too. If there's I've had to sign so many non-disclosure agreements and privacy contracts and stuff like that. It just depends on industry.
You won't let it be known that you helped this person? Is that what the NDA would be?
That, and also they just give me so much insider information into even if it doesn't show up in what we end up producing, they're like, you can't talk about this.
Right.
Yeah.
What would your onboarding process be to evaluate me?
Yeah, so I always start with like let's chat for 30 minutes and just talk. Like, what are your goals? What's your purpose? What is it that you're even wanting to do? Because I found that there's a lot of times when people will come to me and they'll ask for something that I'm like, yeah, I could technically do that, but either I don't want to or it's not in my wheelhouse. Social media support sucks the soul out of me, so I just stopped doing it. I still do LinkedIn support because LinkedIn's different. It's a different beast. Professional messaging and communication is different than business to consumer, like B2C, the retail side. I don't really do retail marketing and communication and stuff either. So a 30-minute chat just to like make sure that what they want is aligned. I also do my research, stalking people on the internet. What are you saying about yourself? How do you position yourself already? Because there are tells that I've figured out, like maybe we're not going to mesh together the best. And then we'll usually start with a smaller project first before we go into like, hey, let's write a whole book together. So I've had some people where I'll blog with them for like a few months and then it'll lead to something bigger, or even like, let's establish brand voice guidelines first. And
Mm-hmm.
that's like a smaller project, because even if you don't work with me, it will at least give you a good foundation of here's how I sound, here's how I write, here's, all the things. And you can just give that to somebody else that you want to write for you if we don't end up working out. So those are usually the three things, I guess.
So if any red flags do come up in that 30-minute process, do you just say, I don't want that? He's like a hippie, or he's MAGA, or whatever it might be. Do you just like blow people out of the water based on liking or not liking them?
No, it's usually not about that. It's at least in the 30-minute conversation, it's like, is your goal aligned with what I do well? And if it's not, I'll just say like, I don't think I'm the best person to do this. I think, and I'll try to suggest other people, because I have a lot of people in my network that I can refer as well. If it ends up being a personality thing, which I actually have had before, there's been a couple of times where I was like, we are just not syncing. It was hard. It was really hard to decide, like, I just don't really want to work with this person anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it was causing me a lot of stress. And I think partly it was because the expectations, we weren't aligning. Like, I had different expectations of workflow than this client had. And so it was just over communication and like misunderstandings, and yeah, it was a whole thing. But at the end of this cycle, I think you should try to find somebody else. It's been a pleasure working with you. I never burn bridges. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I am always as respectful and kind as I can be, because just because we don't work well together, it doesn't mean it's their fault. It just
Mm-hmm.
means we're not syncing. So
what did you start out writing before you became a professional ghostwriter?
my daddy bought me so many diaries and journals when I was a kid. Can't even count how many. So I would just be in my room writing whatever kids write about. Like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. I can't believe he like passed me a note today in class. Those kind of things. But I didn't know that I wanted to write, even though I wrote all the time. But looking back on it, I can definitely see those cues. Like, I should have figured it out so much sooner. So I remember going to a bookstore with my family, and I was standing in this aisle where there was a specific bookcase of all of these books that I loved. And I remember thinking, I want my name on a book one day. Like, how cool would that be? And I was probably like 13 when I was thinking about this, but it kind of just was in my head, and I was like, wow, that'd be amazing. And then it just left, and I went on being a teenager, and I didn't really think much about it long-term vision casting wise. But then there was also things like standardized testing is a thing. In the US, at least, like, there's so many standardized tests. I hated those things. This, like, little fill in the, well, back before iPads and like computers, you'd have to actually use a like pen or pencil or whatever and like fill in the bubbles.
Fill it in completely.
Right. Yes. You couldn't
Yeah.
like half fill it in or it wouldn't count. So I hated those. But you give me some like essay tests. Oh man, I was like all for those. I would get so excited. And all my friends were like, oh no, I have to write an essay. And I'm like, yeah, I get to write an essay. So yeah, it's like all of the signs were there that I should be a writer. But even in college, my degree's in strategic communication with a business minor. And I didn't know what I wanted to do at first. So I was like undecided for my first year at Ohio State, trying to decide what I wanted to do. So I went with strategic communication, but in my head, I thought that was going to be public relations and marketing. That's how the degree trained me to expect at the end of my collegiate career. And then, so I did professional training development for my first job out of school, which I loved. I ended up going out on my own because I lost my job because I wouldn't move across the country. And I was devastated, but it ended up being a huge blessing because now I'm able to work from home, be my own boss. And I knew that I liked writing. So that's, where I went to first is how can I just find something that I could write to be flexible, because I had my baby then, and I wanted to be with him as much as I could. And it's just grown since then. And now I'm like, oh, so thankful. And it's such a blessing to be able to say that I am a professional ghostwriter.
Uh-huh.
And I have a lot of books swirling around in my own head too, that I want to write, but those are not paying the bills, right? So like I do my client work first, which means that my own books, some of them I have started, but they're just kind of in the process, waiting until I have some more time to be able to write them.
Are you finding that most people write and they plan on monetizing, or are they writing to be able to communicate, be creative, and just like see if it sticks?
Well, I hope that most people write to be creative, because most writers do not make money doing so. Especially with all of the self-publishing tools, which are great.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can publish anything, but it also has saturated the market even more so than what it was before self-publishing. And even if you go the traditional publishing route, like you might not sell that much. A lot of traditional publishers now, they require that you have audiences of sometimes 100,000 plus before they will even consider publishing your book, because they expect you to do so much of the marketing and
Right.
sell so much of it. So yeah, writing is one of those things of like, yes, you can make really good money doing it. I mean, look at Stephen King. That guy's cranking out books like crazy and making millions every single book, but that's not the typical story or like client testimonial or whatever. I love writing for people who aren't doing it for money, because number one, their heart's in the right place when it comes to like what they want to say. It's usually out of genuinely wanting to help people.
Yeah.
I'm helping someone right now write a memoir, and it's just the sweetest process, because this person, I mean, honestly, he doesn't care if he sells one book. Like, he just wants to be able to tell his friends and family, like, here's my life story and how it's impacted me. And I hope that it helps you too. I do coaching sessions with him. I'm actually not the ghostwriter. I'm a writing coach for him. And it's just like when those light bulb moments go off, because I'm asking questions. I'm like, there's a gap in your story here. So I'm like, let's pull it out. And he's like, there is no story there. And I'm like, oh, there is. So I start asking these questions, and he's like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm starting to remember things that I didn't remember before. And then he'll start writing them down, or I'm asking for details. I'm like, tell me about the sounds, the smells, what are you seeing? How are you feeling inside when this was happening? And it just starts coming out, like if you ask the right questions. So those are the kinds of writing projects that I love when it comes from the heart, and it's more about wanting to make an impact versus making money, because it's so rewarding and fulfilling. And yeah, I love it.
That's interesting that you do memoirs, because you would think that memoirs, you're hitting the beats, but then you have to kind of fill in the bridge. And so is that difficult for you because you didn't live that and you're really basically trying to tell a true story?
Yeah, memoirs are interesting, because if I were to write it, I would be making it up, as you said, because I wasn't there. So I much prefer to do a writing coaching agreement when it comes to memoirs, meaning you write everything down that you want to say, and then I will organize it for you into chapters, into structure. I will ask a bajillion questions to try to get you to fill in the holes and to really think more, as opposed to saying, Matthew and Kristina sat down and had a podcast interview together. Like, behind the screen, behind my laptop right now, what am I seeing? I can faintly hear my kids playing from outside the wall, like
Right.
all of those things. It's kind of like seeing the behind the scenes of what everyone else is seeing is just the movie screen. And then you get to paint I always think of those pictures where it's like somebody being interviewed, or even the behind the scenes of movies. You see the big boom mic that no one else can see because you're getting the picture of like from behind the actors or whatever. That's what I like to think about. Yeah. Did that answer your question? Sorry.
It kind of did. And while you were speaking about that, I was wondering what part of you has to disappear to write in someone else's voice?
Oh gosh, my Appalachian roots. and my motherhood, like all of the things that make me who I am. I have to, if I'm writing for a 65-year-old man, I can't be like almost 40-year-old woman with 3 young kids still at home because
Right.
he has adult children and he might be from, I don't know, Spain and I'm from Appalachian, Ohio, so there's a lot of the word choices. I would say it much differently than how a lot of my clients would say things.
Oh, yeah.
A couple days ago was thinking about how it's ridiculous. I cannot spell the word behavior like an American anymore. I have to really think about taking out that U because I have written so much for European
Brits.
and African communities. Yeah. And Canada, parts of Africa, and then European, like they all use the U's.
Right.
And I have ghostwritten for so many of them. Those daggone U's, like they keep sneaking in there and I'm like, wait, who am I? I don't even know who I am anymore. I'm an American who wants to use all the U's because I use them so much.
That is funny. Appalachia, you've mentioned that a couple of times. What is it about regular Americans' perception of folks from that part of the country?
Oh, goodness. Well, there's been documentaries. We've been on, like, my hometown has been on 60 Minutes or like Dateline or one of those like investigative news reports or whatever. It is a very real thing to say it's an impoverished area of the country. I mean, my husband likes to joke that, like, when I tell stories from high school, he's like, everything that you thought was cool was actually cool 10 years before that. Because everything just like slows down. Like takes a while to get there. And it's half in jest, but it also is a little bit true. It's just, the area is not wealthy by any means. Like, people are born there and they live there and they die there. Like, there's not a lot of even travel. I remember I took my driver's ed at AAA and I was talking to the person who worked at AAA as a 16-year-old, and they're like, people from this area pretty much only go to Myrtle Beach for vacation. They don't go anywhere else. And I was asking why, and she's like, I don't know. Like, that's just, they get stuck in these routines and then they won't get out of it. Who wants to use all the U's because I use them so much.
That is funny. Appalachia, you've mentioned that a couple of times. What is it about regular Americans' perception of folks from that part of the country?
Oh, goodness. Well, there's been documentaries. We've been on, like, my hometown has been on 60 Minutes or like Dateline or one of those like investigative news reports or whatever. It is a very real thing to say it's an impoverished area of the country. I mean, my husband likes to joke that, like, when I tell stories from high school, he's like, everything that you thought was cool was actually cool 10 years before that. Because everything just like slows down. Like takes a while to get there. And it's half in jest, but it also is a little bit true. It's just, the area is not wealthy by any means. Like, people are born there and they live there and they die there. Like, there's not a lot of even travel. I remember I took my driver's ed at AAA and I was talking to the person who worked at AAA as a 16-year-old, and they're like, people from this area pretty much only go to Myrtle Beach for vacation. They don't go anywhere else. And I was asking why, and she's like, I don't know. Like, that's just, they get stuck in these routines and then they won't get out of it. There was a documentary once about Mountain Dew addiction in Appalachia, which is like, I mean, the way that I grew up, I understand it because there's not the health and nutrition education in that area either, like there is in the rest of the country. I grew up eating Pop-Tarts and the Easy Mac and corn dogs, like frozen corn. Like that's what I grew up eating. And it's not to say it's like the fault of anyone. It's just that was normal for everybody to eat like that. And now as an adult, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to get osteoporosis by the time I'm 45? Because I never had any vitamins going into my body. So there's a lot of that, but it's also just such a beautiful area. Like, Appalachia I am in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. So, it spans a very large area.
It must, because I've never
Yeah.
equated Ohio, where you are, with
Yeah.
that part of the country. How far
Yeah.
south does it go?
I mean, the whole mountain range, really. There's, Kentucky, West Virginia, the southeastern part of Ohio, and then parts of Pennsylvania, like all the way down, Tennessee. It gets more like mountain people when you get close to like Tennessee, because that's like the mountains. Where I grew up, it's like the rolling hills, the foothills. But I love my hills. Where I live now, it's flat, and I'm like, gosh, it's so boring. But yeah, it's gorgeous. I grew up in Portsmouth, Ohio, which is right on the Ohio River.
Okay.
And so like gorgeous. Ohio in the Native American language means beautiful river. And so just gorgeous, and all of the rolling hills in the background, and the sunsets are beautiful and all of that. I went to Kentucky frequently because my dad would buy cigarettes, and it was cheaper in Kentucky than Ohio because the taxes were cheaper in Kentucky.
Oh, that's so funny. You just reminded me. My dad would drive like 25 minutes to get gasoline that was 5 cents cheaper. It's like, that makes no sense, right? You put in so much effort and time, and I guess money, to get to something that's cheaper, like the cigarettes, perhaps, for your dad.
Right. Yeah.
You mentioned corn dogs and Pop-Tarts and things like that. You're not still eating that, are you? And if so, just tell me what you ate today.
Okay, so funny thing, when I remember, my husband and I had a little stint of living in San Diego, California for his job. I was pregnant with my daughter. She was born out there. And you're not supposed to eat lunch meat, deli meat and stuff when you're pregnant, because there's a listeria, like risk or whatever. So if you do eat it, it's supposed to be cooked first. Like you can't have a cold sandwich, but also just like processed meat in general. I just tried to stay away from because of all the risks. But I had the weirdest cravings for corn dogs when I was pregnant with her. And I really think it's because of like, just, I don't know, something in my childhood was like trying to come out and be like, you need a corn dog right now. Like,
and that was a San Diego thing. When you were there, you were craving corn dogs.
Yes. Yes.
Are you a mustard or a ketchup girl?
Okay. So I don't like condiments.
Oh, dear. No kidding.
Yeah. My hot dogs and corn dogs are almost always plain, and people think I'm so weird because of it. Hamburgers, I like just cheese and meat. That's my preference. I don't like pickles, mayonnaise, lettuce, like tomato, none of it. I just like the meat and cheese. Yeah, I will dip I will dip my French fries in ketchup. I love barbecue sauce. Put barbecue sauce on chicken, pulled pork. That's amazing. But when it comes to sandwiches and hot dogs and stuff like that, yeah, I'm not a condiment person. And I know that I'm a weirdo because of it. But
you just call yourself a purist, and no one can fight with you.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So funny enough, what I had today for breakfast was donuts. But that is not a normal thing. It's because it's a holiday and my husband decided to surprise me.
Nice
I do have
guy.
a weird thing with donuts. I love
No
them
condiments.
so much. Right? Just the icing. If you call icing a condiment. I really like donuts, and I try really hard to not eat them very often because it's like, oh, they're so bad for you, but they're so good.
Oh,
so good.
What's the best? What's the best donut?
I really love Krispy Kreme donuts, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think there's many companies that can do really good donuts as well, like Krispy Kreme. We do have a Krispy Kreme shop just right down the road, and the hot and fresh light comes on, and they give you a free glazed donut when that light is on. So like,
Life
if
is
I'm driving by, I'm gonna grab a donut. I am a chocoholic. It's kind of a problem. I'm really snooty about it too. It's got to be real good, expensive chocolate, or else I don't like it, and it's like not worth the calories. But
look
also,
at you being snooty.
I am really snooty.
I'm extremely pompous, and you're snooty, so let's work it.
Yeah. So I like to tell people, and I always get this weird look, but like, if you order a hot chocolate at Starbucks, they're like, do you want whipped cream? And I'm like, no, why would you put whipped cream on the deliciousness that is chocolate? you're just diluting it, and also it's like a waste of calories. Yeah, no.
I love that. Have you
I
been to
know.
Europe and had the hot chocolates that they have in Europe that's like thick? You can almost turn the cup over and it doesn't come out.
No, but now I'm devastated that I didn't know about this when I
Oh
have been
my
in Europe,
gosh.
because I feel like I need to book a plane right now and go go
Oh
get one.
yeah. No, that's legendary stuff. But do tell more about your experiences about chocolate.
About chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so growing up, my parents would buy us Palmer chocolate. Do you have Palmer chocolate? And
I've never heard of Palmer chocolate.
it's either Palmer or Palmer's. I don't remember if it has an S on it, but
Do
it's
I need
like,
to know about this?
no. I
Okay.
mean, don't eat it.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty much not actually chocolate. It's like pretending to be chocolate. It's the cheapest chocolate. Like, you can buy it at the dollar store, I'm pretty sure.
hmm
But that's what I grew up eating, and I thought that it was amazing. And then as an adult now, and I see it, they still sell it at the store, any store, Walmart, like Meijer, Target, whatever. And I'll see it, and I'm like trying to decide, oh, if I'm going to get my kids a nice treat, do I get the expensive Ghirardelli chocolate or do I get the Palmer? It's like, that's not even that's not chocolate. I'm going to
hmm
buy the expensive $15 bag of little square things because they're so good. I feel bad because thinking about some of my memories. I don't want my parents to think that I am not appreciative of everything that they gave to me, including the Pop-Tarts and the corn dogs and all of that. But I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I ate junk as a child, which, again, going back full circle, is a problem in Appalachia because it's cheap food, not high quality. No one knows that you're supposed to actually eat fruits and vegetables, and like salmon. What is salmon in Appalachia? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
So yeah, that part of the country, the people from those areas definitely have an unsavory reputation with the rest of the country. Kissing cousins and the hick and the hillbilly thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I no longer live in Appalachia. My husband and we live in the capital city of Ohio, which is outside of that. But I thought the guy was joking when we went in to get our marriage license. And this was back in 2009, I guess, was when we applied. We got married in 2010. But anyway, you have to go and like fill out these things to get your marriage certificate. And then when you're actually getting married, like, the pastor signs it. So we're at the courthouse getting our actual marriage license. He made us raise our right hand, swear all of these things. And one of them was, we swear that we are not closer than second cousins. And I thought he was kidding. And I was like, what? And I just kind of laughed. And he's like, no, you have to say it. And I was like, what? This is apparently a thing. Where I grew up,
Apparently so.
apparently a thing. Where I grew up, I didn't see so much of that. I mean, the most hillbilly thing I've ever done in my life was my aunt and my uncle were watching my brother and I for a few days, like over the summer, and I adore my aunt, so it was like so fun. They had a truck bed, not attached to a truck, just a like pickup truck bed that they put a plastic liner in it and filled it up with water, and I went swimming in the truck bed. And I still think about that, and I'm like, that is definitely like the most hillbilly thing I've ever done in my life. It's those kind of things that are more likely than all of the weird, raunchy kissing cousins and like all of that. I don't really see the like gross part of it. I see like the ridiculous things that are so awesome when you're doing it. And then looking back, you're like, I don't know why I did that, but I did it.
Oh, that is so funny. Interesting that the pastor would have you like, you have to verbalize this or I can't give you your license.
Yeah, I thought he was joking. But he wasn't. Or maybe he was just really all in with the joke. But there were people in line behind us also waiting to get a marriage license. I don't know. It's very weird.
Since you're a chocoholic, have you tried the Dubai chocolate, which is this fancy schmancy pistachio kind of cream thing inside?
Yes, it is delicious.
You like it?
I do like the pistachio with it. I like pistachios in general. I'm also, I'm okay. We're finding out that I'm very snooty when it comes to desserts in general. I'm also really picky about, like no nuts in desserts, but I feel like they process them enough or grind them up or whatever enough to where it doesn't feel like you're eating nuts in your dessert or chocolate. There's a place down the road from me that does, it's a huge cup, like this big, and it's filled with the chocolate, like the Dubai chocolate with the pistachio and whatever that wafery stuff is that's in it. I don't remember what it's called, but then they also add strawberries to it. That's so good. I love that. I have a neighbor who's from Iran and she will make it like from scratch, the Dubai chocolate. So again, like my snootiness, I'm like, what she made is so much better than anything that you can buy at the store. So I am homemade things all the way, all the way. If it's like a cookie from a store, I will likely not eat it anymore because it's so much better when you make it at home. So I bake a lot at home because I do have a sweet tooth, but I also, even though desserts are not really healthy for you, it's healthier to make them at home because it doesn't have all the preservatives and like, you know, the list of ingredients is 8 things long when you make it at home as opposed to 25 things long when you buy it at the store. So.
And really everything in moderation, even, desserts. So you got to enjoy life. What was the last thing you baked?
Sourdough bread. I'm in my sourdough era, as some people will say. Yeah, I started doing sourdough 2 years ago, I guess. And oh my gosh, it's so good having fresh sourdough bread straight from the oven. But I also make now sourdough pancakes. I will make sourdough brownies. You can put sourdough in anything and it makes it healthier because the yeast is natural yeast, right? And so it's supposed to be better for like gut health and all that stuff. That's a big, beautiful sourdough loaf was the last thing that I baked.
Well, I never heard of sourdough cookies or sourdough brownies before.
Yeah, you can either use this. So the sourdough starter is like the part that has the yeast in it. So you can either use fresh or the discard. So I actually have probably three jars of sourdough discard in my fridge right now because it can keep for 3 months. And then whenever you want to make something, you just pull it out and use it. It doesn't have to be active sourdough starter to make a lot of those more desserty kind of things. But I've also made, going back to like terrible things I used to eat all the time growing up, Cheez-Its. I found a recipe for sourdough Cheez-Its, and all it is sourdough discard with salt and cheese.
Oh, is it the dried cheese, like the powdered cheddar?
It's just regular old shredded cheddar cheese. And so, yeah, it's just the 3 ingredients. There's not a ton of chemicals and you just spread it, like you mix it together and spread it super thin, like almost transparently thin on a baking sheet. And you bake it for like 25 minutes and you got yourself a batch of homemade Cheez-Its.
So, Kristina, what's the ethical line between helping someone say something is better and putting into words? You don't want to put words into their mouth, but in a sense, that's exactly what you're doing. Is there kind of an issue with that sometimes, having to do this?
For me, anything that I ever write that is for a client, they have to approve it first. Nothing gets published or moves on to the next step without it first getting their approval. So that's kind of like my safeguard. Like for example, I do newsletters for people, and if they are late in approving the newsletter, that just means that they're going to be late in sending it. Like I will never hit send until they see it. They see it at least twice. So they'll see the draft in like a document, they'll approve it, and then I lay it out in whatever platform they use, and then they have to approve it again before it gets sent. That's like the safeguard. But there have been times where a client will say something that I'm like, that's not right. That's not quite right, or it's not true. I've also had to tell a couple of clients, you're saying something that's offensive right now. I either need to delete it entirely or we need to fix it. And they haven't always agreed with me, but usually they will just delete it if there's any chance that you're about to offend someone. Like, just don't say it. You don't need to be that person. Just don't say it. So that's really been like the only time that I have felt a little weird. But I definitely don't want to ever have my name or work attached to something that makes me feel ethically uneasy. So.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. What's the wildest thing you've ever had to write with a straight face?
I've never had to write anything like that I just thought was bizarre, but I've had a lot of fun with things. I have this one client who I'm like trying to figure out how to say this without giving away too much. She loves using really fun analogies. And so I wrote a blog. It was about a very professional topic, but it was about werewolves versus Ghostbusters. Should the Ghostbusters get into the werewolf business of like hunting werewolves, or should they stay in their lane and just keep doing ghost busting? That was an awesome article to get to write. And I had so much fun with it because you take a boring professional topic sometimes and you're like, oh my gosh, no one's going to read this to the end. Like, I can't even get to the end, and I'm the one who's trying to write it. So I love it when clients, number one, are fun and like have a personality like that, because it just makes it's good for everybody. The reader, the writer, like her, everything. I have some clients that let me take more creative liberties. Like they'll have an idea and they're like, can you just run with this? Make it even more amazing. And that's really fun to be able to write in a different style. That's one of the things I love in general, is just getting to do different types of things and write in different types of styles and personalities. Sometimes I have to be the buttoned up, more corporate sounding voice, which isn't my favorite, but it's neat that I get to do that alongside something that's like werewolves versus Ghostbusters. Getting to do both is really fun.
How do you decide to use dang it instead of damn it, or fudge instead of the other F word? I mean, how do you know?
Like for me personally, or like for someone else?
If I was your client, let's say, I'm a little bit fast and loose with my language.
Yeah.
Is that something you would take into account when you were ghostwriting, when you begin your ghostwriting experience with me?
Yeah. So brand voice guidelines are always what I hope that either my client already has, or I encourage them to create some, because it establishes, here's who I am, here's what I sound like, here's words I use, here's words I do not use, here's my sentence structure. Also thinking about your voice as an actual person, like it's not this weird like little box of like, oh, this is my hammer. It's like, no, this is me. And so it's kind of like describing yourself or your business. Some people have two different voices, one for business, one for more of their personal voice and style, which is fine. I make sure that they know what they want to sound like, and that they can communicate that to me or another ghostwriter in the future. I think you don't want to sound like a buttoned up professional on LinkedIn, and then if somebody finds you on Instagram, you're like a jokester. That like just doesn't align. Right. Yeah. Right. You need to be consistent no matter where you're showing up. And I think people who aren't strong writers, sometimes they just write off the top of their head, which is great in many, many aspects, but also it means that they're not consistently portraying what they want to portray. And so that's where brand voice guidelines can come in, is like, this is what I sound like all the time, or at least in different like facets of it, so.
Is there a word that you tend to overuse?
Well, probably daggone it, personally, not in my writing, but in my, like the way that I talk. When I came to this revelation that I use that word a lot, when my 4-year-old, who was in the playroom by himself, he's just playing and I'm washing dishes or something, and I hear, daggone it. Daggone it. He said it like 4 times in a row. And I was like, he's frustrated about something. He is my child.
Right.
Like, he is a mirror of me. He spends a lot of time with me. So yeah, I say that word a lot.
Oh, that's funny. I was thinking existential is another kind of M dash kind of warning sign that apparently AI uses a lot. Is this something you've come across?
No, not that particular one, but there are definitely words like that. Delve apparently is one, which is interesting. So my husband actually told me this. I don't know where he got his information, but if it's accurate, he was saying that delve is not an American word. Who uses delve in the American language? Not very many people, but it's because there was some large training models that they used. It included a very large manuscript or series of manuscripts or something where whoever wrote it used that word consistently and frequently. So it was like from one aspect of something that AI got trained on, it started using the word delve. And like, because that's not a normal word, at least in American culture, like when you use it, it's pretty obvious. Like you're
Oh,
using
yeah.
AI. What was the other one? Cutting edge, maybe? But I
Cutting
think
edge.
that one was just overused in general, like
Mm-hmm.
by humans, and then AI picked up on it. Like, I think just a lot of jargony words, I think, are just better, whether you're a human or AI. Just like stop using jargon. Let's just get rid
Exactly.
of it. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, Kristina, time to turn the tables. This is an opportunity for you to ask me something, anything. So go for it.
Okay, sounds great. How long have you lived in Hawaii?
Since 93.
And what took you to the wonderful
Oh,
island of Hawaii?
it was a love thing.
Oh, that's so amazing.
And it was also a great time to get out of LA because LA was reaching its critical mass with the craziness and the Rodney King thing, if you remember that far back. And just confluence of events that led up to that was just perfect. I'm going to go move to paradise.
Oh, that's
Big,
awesome.
big fish, small sea kind of thing is what I thought.
Oh, okay. And
You
what
know?
island are you on?
Oahu.
Oh, I honeymooned on Oahu and Kauai. Those were the two islands that I visited. So
Ah. Now, if I were to fly you here to Hawaii tomorrow, what would be the first thing you'd want to do upon landing?
I haven't seen the Big Island, so I really want to see the volcano. That'd be
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah, that would be. You'd want to see it in its active nature.
As long as I'm not too close to it. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny. When I was a young kid, I used to think there was only a couple ways one could die, and one would be lava.
I
And
mean,
the
it's legit. Yeah.
right, and the other one was quicksand. And I didn't think there was anything else that could get to me. So as long as I steered clear of those things, I'd be fine. I'd live forever.
That's amazing. Did you ever see The Princess Bride?
Yeah, yeah.
It came out in 1987, which was the year I was born. And for
Hmm.
whatever reason, I love that movie so much. But I always think of the ROUSs. They're in the forest and these rodents of unusual size come and attack them. But then there's also like the quicksand pits and the fire spurts. And like, that's where I'm always like, I don't want to go there because you're
Oh,
going to
right.
die in that forest.
Oh, gosh. In 1987, you're such a baby.
Depends on your perspective, I suppose.
Exactly. Everything is relative.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
impromptu promo time. This is your opportunity to tell everybody what you would say to your husband if later on he says, "So, honey, sweetheart, baby doll, what was it like being on 50 Shades of Grey with Matthew?"
Oh, I would say that it was a lovely conversation that we had, very spontaneous and full of laughter and just real and authentic isn't an overused words, but it felt very authentic and just personal and like we were chatting across the table, having not a coffee, a hot chocolate with no whipped cream.
What about wine?
I don't like wine. It's got to be, okay, so this is also another really weird thing about me. I don't like beer or wine. If I drink, it's got to be super sugary, pretty much doesn't taste like alcohol. I might as well just be drinking Kool-Aid.
Yeah, but
But
Kool-Aid doesn't give you a good buzz.
that's true. But then I also I love whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
So it's so funny. I give me a Kentucky Mule or like a whiskey sour and then these really strawberry daiquiris. Those are the only two things that I like. And they're so different from one another.
They really are.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't like beer or wine. They're not for me.
Okay, that sounds fair. People wanted to check you out and see what you're all up to, your fun, loving self over on Instagram. Where would they go? What would they do?
Most important thing that you need to know about me is that I am a mom of 3 kids and I love them all so dearly, but it has definitely taught me that I have to be flexible and be filled with grace for people. And so I definitely working with me, you never have to worry about oh no, am I dropping the ball? Is she going to be mad at me because I'm late for a meeting? We are all human beings that have a ton of things going on and the least we can do is be respectful and like fill each other with grace when things happen. So I love working with people that understand that are family oriented and just, have a very laid back vibe. I am on LinkedIn, even though I'm not buttoned up. That's my place to connect with me. I post there pretty regularly and I love it. I do have a website. It's craftedvoice.com. So you can learn more about my different ghostwriting services and writing coaching there. And then I have a Write to Lead publication, it's essentially like a combo between a newsletter and a blog where I am helping people figure out how their writing can help them be better leaders. And a lot of that has to do with infusing the human element in the age of AI. How do you stand out and be a real person so that when you're communicating with your team or your audience, whoever it is, you feel or they feel like you're sitting at a table with an amazing chocolate brownie sundae in front of them and you're like looking at each other in the eye and you're paying attention and you're focused so much so that it just draws them in and they want to hear what they're hanging on your every word. Yeah.
It was a pleasure having you aboard. Thank you so much for hanging with me.
Yeah, it was so nice to meet you. I really appreciate it.
Aloha.
Aloha.